Hey everyone, this is James from Peakway Software. This is the last video of our little demo tutorial series for the pre-alpha. Um, so we're just basically just going to cover some of the terrain tools and the biomes and just anything I might not have picked up on up to this point. So to start off, one of the first things that I did sort of forget about earlier in the first tutorial. So when you're generating terrains, if you didn't like the terrain you got, instead of going back to the main menu, you can actually regenerate your terrain from the level itself. If you go to this terrain gen button, which is in the terrain tab, it pulls up a new window, and you can specify which preset you want to use, and you can hit regenerate heights to regenerate your terrain. And then when you're happy with the terrain generation, you can hit finish, and then it'll go back and apply those biomes over again and populate the level with trees and rocks and grass. You can also change the water level, so if I wanted to lower this down, I could. I'm just not going to do this right now because it takes a lot of loading time. I'm not going to bother in this video. That's not the focus of this video. I just wanted to let you know that this was here. So we're going to move on now. And so one of the biggest things that really powers our random terrain generation and like level generation are biomes. And basically, biomes are a collection of functions. And so what we're going to do is open up the Edit Biomes tab, and for example, let's pull up Fir Forest Overlay. So we have biome lists and operation lists, and so I'm going to click Fir Forest Overlay, and it's going to show me the two operations that are here. There are two different paint object operations, and so when you click on that, it'll show you the allowable surfaces, which acts as a mask. And then in here, there's actually over here in object properties, there's different properties that you can play with. And so min max slope, is determining, what slopes to put these objects on. So this one won't do it over a slope of 90, so you don't have trees on super steep mountains. And if you look, all these objects here will get randomly placed within this biome when I paint it. So I could also manually paint this biome. It sort of defeats the purpose now because it's been applied to the terrain, because eventually we got to the point where we could add biomes to the terrain generation tab and have it just apply to the whole level. But I think it's still important to explain to you how this works and how we get these levels the way we do, because eventually when we open this up, later down the line to our closed alpha testers, and they want to start modding things, they're going to want to understand how this works so they can create their own biomes and randomly generate terrains and stuff. So let's just do a quick little look at the operations we have. So if we do add operations, so these are all the ones we have right now. There might be more down the line, but basically it's revolving around planting trees and grass, clearing trees and grass, and then just changing the terrain and also painting textures on the terrain. Alrighty, so let's go back here and let's just go over the actual terrain painting stuff we have. So we can raise terrains. I'm going to go ahead and we have the radius, the strength, and the height. So really for the strength, you kind of just want to blend between the two, between strength and height. I usually like to start with 10 and 10. Maybe do a radius of 7. And so then I can just hold it and start painting. And you'll notice how it automatically moves the rocks up with it and the trees, but the grass it does not. So once I let go, it'll actually recompute the grass and move them. Alright, so same thing, you have lower, let's just add the 10. These are sort of typical things that are expected in, level design tools, especially when obviously when terrains are involved, flattens areas. I can probably turn that strength down, mess with it to make it a little bit more smooth. We also have a smooth brush here. And then we have textures where we can paint a terrain texture. So let's just pick the road, and let's just paint the road texture down. And then we also have biomes. And so biomes aren't just useful for randomly generating levels. So you can actually set up biomes, for example, just to clear out paths and like one example would be let's see path right here. So this path one, what it'll do, actually let's do dirt path. So dirt path will clear grass, clear trees, it'll flatten the terrain, it'll paint the texture, and then smooth, all in this one operation. So it should, if I select it, paint a relatively good dirt path. Let's lower the radius to something smaller, I guess more acceptable for a path. Let's draw it right through here, right? And so all this stuff before you'd have to manually do by yourself and like per pass. But now you can sort of do it all in one, and that's where the power of the biomes really comes in. Let's see here. What else do we got? I might want to show you. Obviously, clearing, just in general, if you want to clear grass and clear trees, is one you might use a lot. And then, so that's probably about it for the biomes. You can also paint grasses through here, but I'm going to show you another simple way to painting grass if you don't want to set up a biome for it. You can actually just go to the grass tab, and you can add grasses to it. Now, you're not just restricted to these grasses here. We have other grasses. You just have to hit the add grass button, go through the folders, and then they're all right here. So if I want to select some flowers, I can paint these flowers here. So I can go, okay, strength of 100, radius of 4. Let's paint some flowers along this path. I probably got a little carried away, so let's do Shift Z and undo that. Let's do a radius of 2. Let's just paint some flowers right here. And let's go back to add another grass. Do the red flowers on the other side, why not? And so this is basically the simplest way of adding grass to your game. If you just wanted to, paint specifically in different areas to get different effects with the grass. Just for different crazy stuff. You could also set this up in biomes, like if you wanted to combine multiple of these at one time. Like if I wanted to do red and then blue and then maybe even white flowers all at once, I could combine that in a biome and do it all in one brushstroke. But if you're just doing some simple stuff, you can manually do it with the grass here in the grass tab. Let's see. And I think that is actually it for stuff I have not covered up to this point. And really stuff that's relevant to this first sort of prototype pre-alpha demo. We don't have any of the, we're not opening up the modding stuff yet for you guys. So I'm not going to bother explaining all the intricacies of importing objects into the game. We're just sort of showing you how the tools work and how user-friendly they can be. And that way you can hopefully help us out on Kickstarter so we can continue making this. But anyway, if you've gotten to this point, thanks for watching the tutorials. And hopefully, if you guys haven't already, you should go join the forums. We want to talk to you guys, get feedback, and make sure you support us on Kickstarter so you can get that so you can get the closed alpha. And then we'll talk more then. All right. Well, I'll see you guys next time.